Hello again to Find Your Inner Flavor. I am your co-host, Becky Schoenig. I'm one of the owners of SymBowl. We're located in Kirkwood, Chesterfield, and now St.Charles, Missouri. Gregory Owens, my partner, over there on the end. You see us in a little bit of a different format today. Find Your Inner Flavor is all about food, health, nutrition, small business, and the shit we deal with every day. For the most
pretty
part.
much.
So today, this show is a little bit unique and different because we feel like it's not often you know who we are or the faces behind Find Your Inner Flavor. So we've asked Carey, who runs our social media marketing.
I do.
With Think Tank Marketing
here
in St. Louis, to join us, and she has prepared some questions that we have no idea what they are.
They don't know.
So this could be really kind of, not sure if this will be good or if this will be bad.
It will be wonderful.
Okay. And she was super nervous, and I said within 2 minutes, you won't be nervous any longer.
No.
I'm a little nervous.
You're
fine.
between us.
Well,
how could you be
like,
nervous?
Yeah.
Only,
It's like safe.
I know you well.
Safe zone.
However, I am a very behind the scenes type person. So
Do we have a safe word for this show?
let me think. Let's call it udon.
Udon.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's call it.
Okay.
But I do have some great questions, and a lot of my friends and a lot of my coworkers who know you and have dined at the restaurant before also want to know some of these questions.
Okay, so let's start by talking about, just briefly explain who you are, what you do, what your background is, that kind of thing.
Well,
Not who you do.
No.
We're talking about what you do.
No, we're not going to talk about who I do because I don't do anyone. But I do work for a marketing and ad agency here in St. Louis. I'm Midwestern born and raised, amongst the cornfields for sure. I've worked for Becky and Greg now for a year. Mm-hmm. Actually, it was a year this week, as a matter of fact.
It's like our anniversary. Did somebody bring a cake? Because I haven't had one yet, and it's
I don't
been
know,
my
but they
birthday month.
brought Bloody Marys, so
that's
that's
perfect.
and Blue kombucha. So I'm happy. I'm very happy with that in my Bloody Mary. But I felt like I have gotten to know you guys over the past year very, very well, and I think I know your voice. And I've been able to come up with some questions that a lot of people want to know about you guys and what you do.
She just skipped over that, who she was.
I know.
She was
I
very
know.
eager.
Yeah, I'm like so not into who I am.
You're gonna have your own show here.
No. But I'm happy to be at Gaslight and with all these fun people. So I'm so excited.
Okay, I'm a little nervous now, to be honest with you. I'm like going, oh
Don't
God,
be
what kind of
nervous.
questions is she gonna? Look at everybody out there is going.
Yeah,
they're like going, I have a question.
Well, what's exciting about it is they're listening. I see them listening. And I see my painting out there, and it looks good from a far away.
I know. I love it.
I hope it goes in your bedroom.
It is.
Anyway, what I have learned about SymBowl is a lot about you guys, and what makes SymBowl is you guys, is Becky and Greg. There would be no SymBowl if there was no Becky and Greg. So one of my first questions is, what has your journey been like up to this point with the restaurants?
Oh, shit.
Are you asking me or asking him?
I'm asking both of you, so
Both
I would
of
like
you.
to know from both of you. So
All right.
who wants to go
Becky,
first?
go first.
So for me, what's the journey been like? It's been like a roller coaster, and right now I feel like the roller coaster is stuck upside down in one of those spiral circles, and you're like going, help! Or is it ever going to start back up and get us down safely? I mean, it has a lot of ups and downs to it. I can tell you for sure. So my background has been life coaching, business consulting. I'm a spiritual intuitive. And to be honest with you, I think that as a small business owner with this, it has challenged me in regards to the spiritual practice of a small business. And I think that that's left out of a lot of businesses or not talked about. And I've had to figure out how to be comfortable talking about it and where I bring those practices in and where it shows up in practice and in the business. But it's blending. It really has been the blend of those two things. But the roller coaster, the roller coaster piece is probably the best way to explain what the ride has been like.
The ride has been
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, for me,
Greg,
it's,
what's your journey
it's just,
been like?
It's climbing a wall, and
Climbing a wall.
yeah,
With nothing on
Like
it.
American Gladiator climbing the wall?
yeah, pretty much, yeah. Ninja Warrior stuff. You know, you just keep climbing, and then you're almost there.
And then there's
And then
another
you get
wall
up, and
that
then you're like,
appears.
Seriously.
We're not allowed to cuss.
We
No,
just
you
did.
can cuss.
You
Oh,
know,
we can cuss.
it is that, or you get there and you're almost at the top, and then you slide halfway down.
Right, but
And
isn't
then
that life? It's not just the restaurant, it's
if
life,
I won
right?
the Powerball.
Yeah.
You know,
Would you share it with me if you won a piece?
Depends on what
yeah,
you
it
do
depends.
for
Yeah,
it.
we can talk later. No, but it is a struggle, and then sometimes it's like sometimes the wall is very easy to climb, sometimes it's not. Sometimes there's somebody throwing
catch
crap
you.
at you.
Or to catch you.
Sometimes there's a catch. But yeah, it is life. I mean, you do get back up. I guess the biggest thing is, as you grow with the business, you're climbing the wall with 30 employees on your back, with
Being responsible
being
for them.
responsible, or even like some of the, we have such great relationships, particularly Matt at Buttonwood,
Love Buttonwood.
they're great. And I know he's a small, farmer trying to do his thing with his family. And I also know that we're probably a fairly decent account for him. And if we fail, that means all of a sudden he's got, a couple thousand, $1,000 a week in sales that he just lost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
So
heavy
now
responsibility.
I have that. So
Yeah.
it is a lot.
It's really not about us. It's about everybody else that's involved.
Well, how do you think you guys got to where you are today with 3 restaurants? That's amazing. In a short period. Short is their marketing period. Short period of time.
Crazy.
Crazy
yeah.
short period.
We have-
Love it.
we
but
have a-
short period of time.
We are very fortunate that we have partners that helped invest us with capital. In the very beginning, blessed that my parents were able to help us get going. Tons of friends that helped scrape floors, take down walls, paint. Our spouses.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's
shit,
a lot.
Our spouses have.
Yeah.
They've totally supported us.
Yeah, it's I can say that. So we've been in business for 5.5 years. We rebranded just over a year ago and opened up 2 locations in the last year.
Well, the
year
two,
and a half.
second and third open almost exactly a year apart.
Yeah. So we had a couple of years in there that we were feeling like we were succeeding in some things, doing some things, and then we chose to build and grow very quickly with the 3rd location. And the reality is that you sacrifice a lot of things, and it's not just us sacrificing it; it's our whole family sacrificing it. The one thing that I hope that we never sacrifice is our employees. In the meantime, we've given raises and all of that kind of stuff before ever even cutting ourselves a check this year. So, that's the reality of what the business is.
Well, that kind of segues into my next question for you guys, which is one of my favorite questions and one of my favorite answers from you guys. And I know
answer
it.
yet.
Well,
I think
kn-
you know the answer.
I think I know the answer, and I've heard the answer before, but I think that other people want to hear the same thing that I do, which is, what is your vision for SymBowl? And describe that vision. What is it?
I think it changes almost daily right now.
good
In
answer.
some ways. You have to really. It's honestly, I think our employees are what are creating our vision for currently in this current moment, because franchising has been in the talks and all of that kind of stuff. Bringing on another investor has been in the talks, but the reality is that for Greg and I, we would have never been able to open up the restaurant without his parents' help and support. And there's a lot of people out there that would love to open up a restaurant, but they don't have the financial backing for it. We also have identified and know that there are a lot of people willing to invest, but they don't want to work. And we can only work so much in a limited amount of space and time and all that kind of stuff.
24 hours in a day.
Yeah, there's a lot of legalities that go into the franchising aspects of it. However, in my ideal world, if we could find investors that could partner with employees that would love to own a restaurant someday and partner them in and partner SymBowl in and create this all-around win-win situation, I mean, that would be ideally what I would like to do. For us, this is not about the money. Now, granted, I would like to be able to comfortably pay my bills and have money in the account to pay everything and not have to worry. But for us, I mean, I want to see a SymBowl all over. I mean, it's really, and it's what we do, how we do it.
I'll agree with that, and I'll add to it. I mean, the core for me is an integrity with the food, I guess.
Integrity with the food.
Yeah. Wow, is that a key word?
It
I
is.
like the
Oh,
way
shit.
she does
Integrity
the
with the food.
hands around the mic.
Integrity with the food.
We've tried. We're just. I'd like to think we're just very honest with what we do, how we do it, where we get our crap from. Probably, maybe, in some respects,
Too honest.
and also maybe too modest. I don't like tooting our horn too much, and we need to, because what we do and what we buy and how we do it, I've been around enough to know that the majority of places don't do it the way we do.
No.
I mean, and I don't want to disparage other places, other restaurants, because it's just the reality of how the restaurant industry works.
There are lots of examples, but there are lots of restaurants out there or meal programs out there that talk about healthy eating. And the moment I tell them who we get our chicken from, which is Buttonwood Farms, and how much we pay for it, they go, I could never do that. Mm-hmm. And the reality is that, okay, you've chosen a business plan that works like this, but you're not in, I don't know if you're necessarily in integrity offering the best product. And it doesn't mean that their intention is wrong. It just means that their business plan isn't set up to work in that way. And it's a challenge for us because we choose to use the most premium of products, the best quality products out there, and we pay a premium price, but we're a fast casual restaurant. We're not a sit-down dine-in. If you had a server coming to your table and they were and you had ordered exactly the same thing that we serve in our restaurant, you wouldn't think anything about paying $30 a plate. Mm-hmm. But that's not what we do. So it's an expectation of the quick casual industry too. Mm-hmm.
What types of challenges have you guys faced along the journey of SymBowl?
Do you see the eye roll?
And the more important question is not what are the challenges, but how have you overcome the challenges? Silence.
There's a long
cash flow.
Long pause.
Cash flow
is number one.
Cash flow is a huge piece
And
of
we
it.
see that.
Employees.
Constant. And
Employees.
Talk about your employees.
Well, we have great employees, but hiring new employees in, I'm telling you, the person that creates a program, look, I've got everybody listening right now.
Yeah.
A person that creates a program that weeds out those
Shitballs.
the shitballs out there. Here's the
did
thing:
you say shitballs?
Indeed, Craigslist, all of
Shitballs.
that kind of stuff. I can have 100 employees. This is the reality. I can have 100 employee or 100 people apply for a job. I may have 10 of them that I will have a conversation with. I may have 2 to 3 of them show up for an interview, and most of them
2 or 3?
won't ever even respond if you leave them a message
half
or
of
send them an
have
email.
bogus information to begin with. For
It's-
whatever reason they put down the wrong information, they do.
Well, here's the thing. There are a lot of people that just flat out do not want to work. And in the restaurant industry, we're not a high-paying job, and you don't need huge skill sets to do what it is that we do. You don't need a degree. We want you to have... We want people with passion. We don't want somebody who just needs a paycheck. We want somebody who... I'd rather hire somebody in who has little to no experience, but has a great work ethic and has a passion for the food.
Well, yeah.
Well, that interests me because I know personally a lot of the people that work for you. Hi out there. I see you. I see you. And I also know that how you mentor them. And I know you guys don't talk a lot about that, but I think it's important to talk about it.
You might bring me to tears, and I'm like,
I'm sorry, but I
it's
see
not
that-
mentoring. It's when we opened.
It is.
I
Sorry, I'm going to argue
All right,
with
fine.
you, Greg. It is mentoring.
When we
whether
first
you think it is
opened-
or not.
I know I was really close to just doing anything else but the food business
Why?
because it's shitty.
Why?
Crap hours, hard numbers, and especially if you get into a larger level, everybody and their brother is just trying to screw you on. You have purveyors, you have equipment. I mean, the cost that goes into it, everyone is pretty much out to screw you.
Oh, that's sad. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean-
they're all out for their own nickel. It's draining. It can
I think
be
the thing is
super
that
draining.
I always wanted to do something like this. I don't have a background in it. I was raised in the industry. My mom and my stepdad owned restaurants and nightclubs.
I didn't know that about you.
Yeah. I
I
was
didn't-
drinking at
what
the bar at
nightclub?
about 12 or 13.
What nightclub?
I'm not from Missouri.
Wisconsin. Well, when I
Wisconsin.
was getting at, it's so
Wisconsin,
easy.
can you hear it in our voice?
It's so easy
I
to
can.
get bitter. It's so
Cheese
easy
curds.
to get bitter.
I like this.
It's an industry.
Squeak.
I never thought that, like, I don't come from this negative space.
I do.
You do. I don't come. I
negativity.
honestly, I say that I live in a Pollyanna world in a realistic way. Like
I
I'm very
agree with you.
realistic in regards to what it is. But in the last few months, since the beginning of the year, you start identifying where you can become really bitter.
Oh,
And it's
we've
one of the
talked about
things. Yeah,
this.
and
Well,
it's a dislike that I have.
And it's hard, especially in the restaurant business, because you're fighting all these, I guess, normal business issues, but you're having to do it at 10 o'clock on a Friday night because you're open for business. You have to do it on the holidays, all the weekends are soaked up. You're facing all the same business things, and yet you're looking at all the other business people that are dealing with the same shit, but they're off on the weekend.
Yeah.
And and you're like, F you. I'm having to do it
and
too.
we're dealing with the issues that if minimum wage goes up to $10, $12 an hour, it could put somebody like us out
Easily.
of business. Because it's not just about how much you pay hourly. We now pay employee taxes. Our workman's comp goes up. It's not just about what we're
not
paying
that-
hourly
No, it's all that
in
other
wages.
things that
It's
go up.
all of the other expenses that
and-
nobody
and
else
then
seems to
we don't
understand.
have that padding to increase our payroll 25% overnight.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe given a couple months, we're not a big corporation that has millions in the bank that, okay, yeah, payroll went up 25%. It's going to cut into profits. It sucks right now.
Yeah.
No, we're our business is just like the American family, paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
Well,
We've talked about some of the negatives.
Oh, the
we
positives.
We just went
Okay.
through some of the negatives, so let's go through some of the positives. So what do you both feel, and I'll ask you one by one, whoever wants to go first can. What has been, do you think, your greatest accomplishment with the restaurants? All
It's
three
the
of them. There's
longest-
three. Kirkwood, Chesterfield, and St. Charles.
It's probably, I think this is now the longest job I've ever had.
That's
I mean, that's
is that your biggest accomplishment?
no, that is a huge accomplishment for me because I'm not a very committed type of a person. I honestly think that
Yes, you are.
I've probably overcame. When you do something at this level, you almost become numb to it. You cannot focus on the fear of it. When you sit there and start looking at the minute details to it, when you look at and go, okay, we're responsible for X amount of money, X amount of employees, all of these bills, investors, whatever it is, it could take the normal person who's not doing this and go, fuck no.
The normal.
I mean, the average, the person,
average.
The person that is sitting
Andrea, I see you looking at me.
But it's created a blind that when your vision is so much greater and bigger than what it is that you can even wrap your head around, you don't see those things. Yes,
You
it
don't
wakes
see
you
your
up.
accomplishments?
No, you just see beyond the fear.
You
I mean,
see
you
beyond the fear. Ooh, I like
You
it.
wake up at 4:00 in the morning still, and
I
you're
do that.
worried about whatever it is that comes up. But
I do your marketing, and sometimes I wake up at 4:00 in the morning and think, how can I market SymBowl better than I do?
yeah,
we do too.
right.
Better than I did yesterday. And it's not hard, actually. It's really not hard because I believe in the restaurants and I believe in you guys.
For
Greg?
me, the greatest accomplishment, I guess we had a vision 6 years ago, probably.
Only 6 short years ago. I mean, that's nothing. It's 6
You
years.
want to answer
is
for me?
Nothing.
Toots?
Sorry, go ahead.
And honestly, it's amazing to see how much is what was scribbled on a piece of notebook paper or computer paper. I've been meaning to give those to you.
Thank you.
He has the original
like
scribbles
stuff that I
from-
scribbled.
that.
It's amazing
I want
how
the
much
scribble.
is like
still the same.
pure. Still, we haven't caved. We haven't. Probably the best thing for me is that we haven't sold our soul to the corporate devil. There are so many ways we could cheapen our product, and no one would know. No one would know. There are so many things that we could do that customers would
most
have.
don't know how and where we get
They
our
would have no
chicken
clue.
from.
They would have
or-
no clue.
Yeah,
We could do all sorts of things and be making a lot more
a
money.
lot more money. And we tried it for 2 or 3 weeks.
Well, that wasn't. That
we
was, that was like
we went from this level chicken to just like right about there kind of chicken.
Yeah.
And then we sat there and we ate it and we tested it
can't
and we
do
go, we can't do this. We love Matt and his family and seeing his little girl out there like feeding the chickens and all this other stuff. And we're going,
it's just not the
okay,
same.
we won't pay for our kids' college.
Literally, just stepping down to what was still a premium
Yeah.
product was enough to send our kids to college. A difference in cost.
Tough. I have kids that age.
Yeah, I mean,
understand.
and you're sitting there going, shit, no one would know.
But
Not
you
a-
can
But
take
you
here.
would know.
We did.
But here's
But
the
you would
thing.
know.
You can taste this experience. Most of you have probably experienced this at some point because we do
We do
this.
it,
We
yeah.
frequent restaurants that have just opened up or whatever it is. You go there for the first time
And the
you go,
energy is amazing.
Energy's amazing. The people are fun. You
can
tell
feel the
they
love in the
You
food.
can feel the love in the food, all of this stuff. And you go, this is a restaurant I'm going to recommend. And then you go back 6 months later. And you
And-
sit at the bar and you look
And
at
I'm
the
not
menu.
an energy person, but you can tell. It's like, yeah, this ain't the same.
Yeah, you walk in, you sit down, you order food, and you go, something's changed. And the
And they
menu
got that
hasn't
first electric
changed
bill,
a whole lot.
or they got the whatever, and all of a sudden, like, oh crap.
And fear comes in, and immediately the first place you can cut your costs is in food. So, because you can't hire less employees, you can't lessen your electric bill or your phone bill or anything like that. So you cut the cost in
Or your
product.
marketing bill.
Yeah. So you cut the cost in your product.
I don't know.
and
There was a 16-year-old kid that was pretty.
I know. I think
We
it
might
was
talk
pretty
to him.
affordable.
Those Spark kids were making me nervous. That's for sure.
So anyway, you can, when you're aware of what it is and fear kicks in, and that's where you feel it, you taste it, you know it. Not everybody is maybe in tune with it, but now that you've listened to this podcast, watched this YouTube channel, you're probably going to wind up noticing it a little bit more. We've done the reverse. We've done the reverse.
God.
Our cost has gone up. When Mofu Tofu came into play, we said, we're going to pay premium price for a local
Yeah,
product.
quadrupled the
Yeah.
cost of that ingredient overnight.
But Buttonwood Farms, Overlook Farms with their pork.
We love them.
Oh my gosh, it really is, and you create your family with who you want to work with, and that's
Your family. Your friend family.
yeah. I
Your
mean,
family.
you love and respect the reps that offer the products that you're
Kuna.
Kuna. I mean,
Kuna.
that is another
Kuna
one
Kate.
that Kuna Kate.
Blue.
We're just gonna let Carey name off all the next sponsors in the show.
She's kind of hot, you know.
You guys, I do have 2 questions for Greg because I was telling.
Do I need another?
I'm gonna go to the bathroom while he's answering these questions. I'm just kidding.
I have 2. I have 2 questions because I was just telling people in the audience, like Carey and Chris and Andrea and Lacey, that
Okay, ladies,
I
I'm
ask
married.
Greg questions every once in a while because I'm very interested in chef questions. And
I'm such a non-chef.
You are such a non-answerer, but we're going to get to the heart of it today. And what I want to know from Greg, I have 2 questions for you. And I want real answers this time, not one
Not
sentence.
snarky,
or,
shitty.
Carey, that's a lame question that everybody asks me all the time. These 2 should not be.
Okay.
I've thought long and hard about them, like 24 hours I took. Okay. So what or who got you most excited about cooking?
It was me.
Oh, she answered.
Hell up.
Becky answered.
I'm just kidding you.
What or who?
I don't know if there was a who. So my parents had a small business.
Which was?
They did woodworking. They did like wooden puzzles and sort of educational items for kids. This is
Awesome.
But I saw all the struggles of the small business then. That's pre-computers, and I can remember.
Did they always do that?
You always have
No,
to
my dad
also
was an
ask Greg
electrical
to,
engineer.
like, make these.
Shut up. No, he was an electrical engineer. My dad was an electrical engineer. My
Don't keep
mom was
asking.
mostly, wow.
Stop it.
Shut the. And
This is how we work all day.
I started cooking because I was hungry. But I wound up, that's kind of what I wound up doing.
No, really.
Yeah, really.
Is that why? Because you
really,
were
I
hungry?
no. My mom's family was, actually, no. Both my parents grew up relatively with a bit of a struggle.
In
my
this
dad's family.
area?
Out in, it's a sticks now. It was a sticks then. Now it's,
Where?
Wildwood.
Oh,
But
well.
we're talking in the.
But this was
Wildwood.
way back. Way back before it was Wildwood.
Yeah.
Way back.
Amazing. Well, my dad didn't have indoor plumbing, went to a one-room school.
I love it.
In the summers, he would
Love
spend time
it.
with, relatives that didn't have that had dirt floors by the river.
Love it.
My
Me too, Greg.
my mother's family moved out would have been late 40s. So there was nothing out there.
But the question was.
But they grew up poor. But the one thing we did
excited.
was we.
What made you
Well,
excited?
we
about it?
ate. That was the one thing. We didn't do vacations every year. We didn't do this or that. More or less, my dad, we built the house that I grew up in for the most part. But they ate. Food was always, I guess that, you see with, I don't know, I hate to be whatever, but like immigrant culture, all of a sudden, they come in and food's plentiful. The first thing, if you go into anybody that's coming in this country, they're eating before anything else, food, because it's such a commodity.
But the one thing
one
thing you always talk about is you got into the food industry before food TV.
Yeah. So I started
Food TV.
I started cooking in college to pay for a degree I didn't
Where'd
use.
you go to college?
Truman State University was
Truman!
Northeast.
Woo!
Was
I know that
Northeast Missouri
school.
State.
Love it. SIUE
And,
here.
and wanted to be in
Woo!
education. Wow, you are.
Carey's taking this show over.
Shut the
This is
hell up.
no longer Find Your Inner Flavor.
And-
This is the Carey Show.
I need to know these things.
So I'm trying to give you the
sorry.
short-ended. Hello, Jason Schoenig. I'm telling a story like you.
I know,
Mwah.
long and winded.
I love
keep
Joanne.
getting to the
Guys,
point.
the question was.
Yeah, the spouses that we were lamenting about how supportive they were and how much we owed them just showed
Don't
up.
digress.
Yeah, so they just showed up. So we were totally supporting you.
Okay,
Supporting
well,
you.
wait.
Anyway,
Now
so,
you have to get to
all
the
right,
next question because we're almost
really
out
good.
of time.
How much time we got? 10 minutes. Oh, 10
we
minutes.
got to keep going.
Wait,
This is so
I
good.
have a couple
Shut
more
up.
questions.
I'm trying to finish. So,
Tell me to shut
I did, yes. First job, loved it. Went to culinary school, but it was before food TV.
Culinary School where?
It was Florida Culinary Institute in West Palm Beach.
Ooh, nice.
Doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, bummer.
But it was very industry focused, and I did have a couple mentor chefs there that they just got it. You know, this is what you do. This is why you do it. If you don't do it this way, then it's not this. And basically, just a little bit of truthfulness. Just own what you're doing. If you're going to do this sauce, then you do it correctly. If you're not going to do it that way, then call it something else. Don't pretend.
Don't be a poser. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, don't be a poser.
No, posers
So I
want
want to ask you a question because I like.
Oh,
can I ask a question?
Just do it. You're wasting time. Clock's ticking.
Am I able to ask him a question? Because
Yes.
I want to know, because you went to culinary school before Food TV, but you've also taught at a culinary school.
Oh,
so what's
did
your
not know this.
so what is your
Good marketing.
perception on where the industry has changed and why somebody might be going into the industry now versus why you chose to go into
Because
the
they think
industry?
they're a fucking celebrity. They're not. They're going in because they think it's. When I told my parents what I wanted to do, and they're super supportive, but I got the what the hell look, because it was not.
It wasn't sexy.
It wasn't sexy. It wasn't really a career. It was a job.
Like an artist?
It would be like an artist, I would say.
Yeah.
Professions that
It was like you were going to make minimum wage.
Well, yeah, there
You're gonna work
wasn't
a lot of hours.
Professions
tons of
that
hours.
parents aren't enthused about.
My mother. I mean, I've been doing this
What?
for
You
25
went to Truman
years.
State and now you want to be a chef? You mean
Basically.
a cook?
Right.
Well, yeah, we were cooks, not chefs. We didn't. I mean, up until really. I don't know. I think it's still different in America than it
We
is in
could
Europe.
tag team this and be a killer show.
Kill it.
Oh. The food TV thing really changed the industry. It became more about the look, the glam, the, whatever, the splash, than the actual product.
Well,
it's a big thing with what I have is just cook the food correctly. Don't give me a bunch of shit on it. Don't try and do all these fancy things to it. How about you just cook it right?
I know we don't have much time left, but the most important question that I wanted to ask you guys is, I think, a great way to finish this. And I want to hear it from both of you. Not to put you on the spot or anything, but I know you'll have great advice. I would like to know how you guys see the St. Louis food scene growing and changing in the next few years. And I would also like to know how you hope to influence that, because I feel like you guys are definitely influencers on the St. Louis food scene. So
I don't think we are.
Really?
I mean,
All
to be
right.
they
honest.
don't know. They
So
don't.
here's what I will.
They don't know.
Here's my, and this is just me being blunt and honest.
I love it. Do it.
I think you're
Go
in the
for it.
in. I think you're in the in group when you have money and you can advertise in a lot of the magazines, and get a lot of the publicity. When you don't have that and you still cook really good food, and for me, it's about discovering and uncovering some of the hidden restaurants in St. Louis.
Such as anybody you want to
Thai
tout?
rice.
Oh yeah, Thai Rice
What a
Bistro.
great guy.
Thai rice.
Oh
Where's
my
it at?
gosh, out
It's in
Baldwin.
Baldwin.
Baxter and
It's
Manchester.
right across from whatever gym. Isn't there
Joey
a gym?
B's or some
Yeah,
crap
Joey
like
B's
that.
is right out there.
Liquid, yeah.
Thai Rice Bistro, I think, is one of the best hidden secrets.
And
when
why?
it
Because it's a guy and his sister, and they are just they're doing it.
They're
obviously
doing
to
it. It's
make
really
money,
small.
But it's total. You
I
feel
think
the love.
I
in the
think
food.
Miley with Kui, I think will
I love
will
Miley.
forever
Yeah.
be a staple in St. Louis.
The same thing though. You can just tell.
You can tell there's
They
a lot
wanna
of
do-
there. Here's the thing: the trend in St. Louis right now is the whole farm to table. Well, I'm going to call bullshit on a lot of that,
Call it.
because we all know that there's a lot of that's not coming directly from a farm. You see the boxes, you see the cans, whatever it is that you want to call it. I'd really love for some of the magazines to actually highlight and spotlight some of those that don't have necessarily the budget.
Well, unfortunately, our magazines are profit driven.
Yeah.
So they're not going to piss anybody off. They're not going to be in New York Times. They're not going to be, a big newspaper that's going to call them out because that's what they do.
But
so
be honest,
their
like,
reviews are a joke.
I'm just going to say we had a food review from one of the magazines that came into our restaurant.
Which one?
I'm not even going to say which one it was. One of the big food magazines had a what they called a food critic come in, and they thought we did bento boxes. We don't even do bento boxes.
Yeah,
like they didn't know.
He compared us,
They compared us to
Trip.
Quick Trip tea.
Oh, please.
Like, I'm sitting there going, this is the article that you choose to write, and this is who you choose
Oh,
to send
and they
in.
were confused because everything came in a bowl.
Yeah.
But he ordered, no, I was saying, he
No,
thought it would be a bento box. It's like, but you ordered a bowl.
Yeah.
How much time do we have left? Like 5 minutes?
So that's
Thanks,
the
Matt.
frustrating.
Thanks, Matt, for the time lapse.
That's the frustrating.
I'm sorry,
That's
I need to
It's a
ask.
frustrating
I
thing.
have another
So
question.
we get really
What-
you get us a little heated in these areas because we really are. We're like the majority of the restaurants out there that are starting up that don't have a whole lot of the funds. You have a lot of great restaurants out there in
Some
St.
tremendous
Louis. I
ones.
think St. Louis food,
But most of
as
them
a
are not
whole-
advertised.
Exactly. And I think that St. Louis food is exciting. And I think there
It
are a
is.
lot of restaurants to choose from that you can have amazing experiences and amazing food at. I just want some of them that are undiscovered to be recognized.
Well, that leads me into my final question.
Oh.
So I want to know from you guys what continues to motivate and inspire you in the industry.
Like the Spark Kids.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're awesome,
they're
right?
one of the things that has kind of kept, like, that's why we committed this year, is because for me, it's seeing this youthful entrepreneur. Also, it's when you have employees that you start seeing that have a
love your
passion.
employees.
I would say for
Carey
me-
Ballard.
For me and Carey, Carey and Lacey. but
Lacey.
I'll try not to
Lacey.
tear up or whatever, but for me, it's employees.
Did you say I would try not to tear up, Greg?
If
I've
Greg-
never seen Greg tear up over anything.
It happens
It's
occasionally,
very
but not very
Occasionally it
often.
happens?
Very
In
rare.
6 years.
I want to see that.
And what?
No, you don't.
Kinda
No, it's
do.
usually
Like a
pretty.
sappy-
It's usually pretty great.
It's like a sappy mess. You really don't want to see it.
Well, I know we don't have very much time left, but I just want to
No,
say
no, but-
that I
well,
love you guys.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
do, and
No,
I
the employees
adore
for-
what
yeah.
you do.
Employees for me is the thing that keeps, because we wouldn't do what we do without.
No.
good
Well,
crew.
yeah. Well, I think our whole
Well,
philosophy.
and we trust
Our whole philosophy is you don't work for us.
We work for
we
you.
work for you.
Ooh,
you work
that's
for our
interesting.
community. So our employees are working for our community.
they're the community is the owner.
Yeah, the community
The
is the
cus- the
owner.
customer- the customer
Anytime,
is
The
the owner.
community is the owner.
anytime
It's
a
gonna be
business
my
owner
new Facebook
says,
status.
anytime a business owner says, "I'm the boss, I
I'm the
own
one that
this,"
write the check.
they have it wrong.
Oh.
There's a difference between a leader and a boss. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. I get what
I
you
do.
mean. I get what you mean. But yeah, I mean, essentially, if people aren't coming in and buying our food,
we're out of
we're screwed.
business.
So the customer is now, the customer is not always right, but that's a different story.
That's for a different show, and we will bring
I
that
have
show.
to come back because we do need to talk about because I'm your marketing person, your Yelp reviews and how we respond to them. And I
That's
think
a
that-
whole show in
I
itself.
think that's a whole show in itself.
We
I
want
agree because
off the
it's
record Yelp response show.
Because
Because we keep thinking of
Well,
how can we get
Carey, here's the thing. So we'll do this as a show in the
We will.
This
in
is
the
a
future.
tease.
But Carey sends me every time there's a negative review or something like that. I'm the one that gets the email, and
Sorry about that.
I typically respond
We respond
back to
to
her,
you.
and then she goes, "Do you really want me to post this?" And sometimes I say,
Yeah.
I'm paying you, and this needs to be your response.
She does.
And other times I go, whatever you decide is best, I'm
Yes.
fine with.
And you
Yeah.
PC it, and you're all nice. And
But yes, Fairies work in our kitchen.
No, and I will tell you, the interesting thing to wrap it up is that with SymBowl, and we're talking about social media, because that is what I primarily do for them, is that I am very on top of their Yelp reviews. And I will tell you, having 3 different Yelp accounts and 3 different Yelp locations, and for you guys to have consistently over 4-star reviews is amazing. It really is. And people that do negatively rate us don't get what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember. I will say, and
Most of the time.
Turning
Most
off
of the
the
time.
I will
Yeah.
say this, and then we'll kind of wrap it up, is that I remember being open and getting the first negative Yelp review.
She did not
And-
like it.
And my heart sank.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was being judged and all of
was
this
a
other
slurp.
stuff. But this also kind of goes back to seeing beyond the fear and just going to the next thing. At the very beginning, you see every single challenge as an obstacle. And then before you know it, it's like it's there, but you don't even see it.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a plus to having Think Tank and having you working for us
thanks.
is that I don't have to focus on that. I don't have to look at that. I don't even look at it ever, really. It used to be
my
something I
job.
looked at every single
insulating.
day. And now I just go, whatever. If there's
She's
anything
got
up
it.
there, Carey's going to let me know. I don't worry about it. At
Well,
this point, I really
my
don't
job.
worry about it.
well, thank you.
So I want to thank you because
No, I
Thank-
love you guys.
Thanks for interviewing
thank you
us.
for interviewing us. We knew that this was kind of a show that needed to take place. We couldn't think of a better person to host it with us,
I
and that
adore
is
you.
Carey.
Both of you.
Find Your Inner Flavor is a new concept for us. It is our podcast. It is the YouTube channel. You can find us on YouTube, iTunes. It is going to be a educational piece to inform people on the food industry as a whole, but also in other areas of health and wellness. So you're going to find all kinds of different guests that we bring onto the show, along with a product line that we're going to launch here in the near future. We are the co-hosts, Gregory Owens.
Yo.
And myself, Becky
it's a
Schoenig.
one word.
We own SymBowl. We are located in Kirkwood, St.Charles, and Chesterfield, Missouri.
Yep.
And thank you to Think Tank, Carey, for being
I
here.
adore you
Come
The,
both.
the Gaslight for hosting our podcast.
Yeehaw.
Mark, who is doing all of our sound and making sure that we sound professional. He doesn't
I hope
edit
so.
that part of it.
Yeah,
If
I
we
was
cuss
gonna
and we
say, he's
mess
screwed
up.
if he did
Or like Matt with
I did
media,
not
Matt
cuss,
with
by the
Media
way.
Outlaws, who sometimes you may hear in the background going, hello, 5 more minutes, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Lou is our bartender today, and thanks to Con Bleu for being our sponsor. We are drinking the Bloody Marys right now. We
Oh,
drank
they're
the
so good.
margarita earlier. So thank you, everybody, for joining, and we will listen
Cheers.
or see you the next time.
Adore you.